and then once I'll join in when you're ready. Gippy, soft G, yep. Gippy, yep. Soft G. Yeah, so my name is Gippy. I have done convention game shows for about 10 years, the anime convention scene for about 10 years. I went to my first convention actually all the way back in 2003, 19 years ago when I was still in high school. So I'm in my 30s now. I'm getting kind of old up there. But I took notice because I wanted to see some reactions to the Anime NYC ticket pricing and procedure, and then I just searched it up on YouTube just to see reactions, and then I came upon your video, and I left a comment there. You had some very strong opinions about Anime NYC's ticketing procedure this year. Now, I do have my own opinions about that, and we'll get to that in a moment. But that's how I found you. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So my first anime NYC was actually not the first year, but the second year. So I've been to 2018, 19, and 21, and we'll get to that in a moment of why I went to anime NYC in 2018. Yeah, that's my introduction. So I can
So,
hear you. I can hear you. I'm not sure if Twitch can hear you
all right, I
because
see.
it's StreamYard. I can hear you.
Yes. Now, Squishy, do you hear echoes by any chance? Let's see. Okay, very good. So, what I should have done is
Should we
it's my
restart?
first one. It's a learning process. Everything's a process. I'm
Yeah,
learning. I'm still learning.
should
I'm
we
still a noob in
restart, or
streaming.
if you're gonna put this on YouTube, should we restart?
Yeah, that's okay. We'll still continue streaming. Okay, a first stream is never gonna be perfect, but it just looks at growth. Okay, so just let me introduce myself again. So I apologize. My name is Dean. People call me Doctor Dean or Wild Gold Dean. If for Filipinos, they would call me Kuya Dean. That means big brother. Kuya means big brother. I'm an autistic pharmacist. I got my doctor of pharmacy degree in 2013 in LIU Brooklyn. I live in New York for 33 years. I'm 34 years old. I'm actually not born here. I actually lived on my first year in the Philippines. so and I'm a autistic pharmacist first. Second, I'm a cosplayer slash otaku. I'm an anime fan. You can see in the back all that stuff. And I go to cons. I also do panels as well. And I do transit stuff in the New York City area, but mainly railroad stuff. So subways, trains, the commuter rails, and so and I want to introduce to Gippy.
Hey, so I'm Gippy. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet everyone. I came upon Wild Goldine while searching for reactions on YouTube about the Anime NYC 2022 ticketing and pricing procedure, and he had some very strong opinions about that. So I left the comment, and we decided just to have a friendly chat and debate. Again, we're not going to always agree with each other, but we're going to
That's
keep it
correct.
respectful because I do understand where he's coming from and points like that. Now, I've been doing anime convention game shows for 10 years. In fact, I was very fortunate to have hosted Anime Speedtune last year at Anime NYC 2021. So that was my first ever event at Anime NYC. We'll talk about that later. But I've also been going to conventions since 2003. That was my first one when I was still in high school. So I am in my mid 30s now. So it's been a long time. I've seen a lot of things come and go in the convention scene in 19 years, and that's where I can provide a little bit of insight as to what's going on, why Anime NYC lean toward this way, and whether or not if it's the right decision or not. We'll be discussing that as we go on.
So in this case, I'm actually going to give a lot of, basically the steering wheel to you. You're gonna be the captain basically, even though it's under my Twitch because
Yeah,
I so I want,
yeah.
first of all, I want to get some thoughts about on your end, how Anime NYC 2021 was. It's my hometown anime con, so you can go whatever you want with it,
Okay.
be
Well, you know
unfiltered.
what? Before we go to Anime NYC 2021, I
Yeah.
should start. We should start at the beginning. Why I go to anime conventions? Why I've been still going to anime conventions for 19 years? What made me attracted to Anime NYC in the
Yes.
first place? As because if I haven't mentioned, I'm not from NYC. I'm actually from Toronto, Canada. So in order to go to Anime NYC, it is a huge commitment, budget-wise, time-wise. I have to book time off work. I budget at least $2,000 every year to go to
Whoa.
Anime NYC because that's how much it costs to actually do anything decent.
Wow.
Meals, buying stuff.
Wow.
Anime NYC was more expensive than usual because normally I take the bus from Toronto to New York. It's an overnight 10 to 12 hour bus. This
Ouch.
time, because the borders closed off, I had to take the plane.
Hmm.
And I also had to spend hundreds of dollars on COVID testing to before going and
What?
after going, and that's how important this was to me. So. Anime NYC 2017, I actually did hear about it, but it was a first year con, and the guest list wasn't really that appealing. I thought, it's a first year con, maybe it's going to survive, maybe it's not. So I skipped, but one of my friends did go and had some really nice thoughts about it. But Anime NYC 2018. Okay, so this happened in November 2018, and
Correct.
um, I had been go before Anime NYC. I had been going to the largest anime convention in my home city
Anime North.
for 15 years. Anime North.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is a little bit off topic, so I'm not going to go too much into it. But I used to do game shows at Anime North for 8 years. It was 8 years back then, yeah. So 8 years. Um, Certain things happened that caused me to have a falling out with their staff and the convention in general, and I stopped going. As a result, I stopped going to Anime North. My relationship with them is over and severed. Again, I'm not calling for a boycott because I think that's selfish and idiotic. Boycotts never work, and also my experience doesn't isn't greater than the experience of others. So if other people really enjoy Anime North, that's great. It's just that I had a falling out with them. That's just another story for another day. Today's about anime. Today's about
Yes.
Anime NYC. But because of that, I was in a little bit of a down mood. I wanted to go to another convention to lift my spirits up. I saw Anime NYC's guest list in 2018, the Anisong World Matsuri, with oh my goodness, I have to remember
Yeah, I
who
forget
sang
too.
there. Um,
I didn't attend
I
to the anime
believe it
song.
was
Mhm.
yeah, I believe it was the singer who did the opening to Violet Evergarden. I remember that.
I may have to do a search
Konomi Suzuki,
myself.
was it Konomi Suzuki? Yeah, it was also Konomi Suzuki was there, I believe. But it was really really awesome. So I bought a pass. The concert itself was actually outside of Javits. You had to pay
Yes.
$75 for that. So I paid that
Whoa.
gladly. and then I got my bus tickets. Went with my friends. We stayed at a hotel, and then it was a really great time. And I saw by going to Anime NYC in that second year, I realized
Mm-hmm.
something, that it was something very special. That in
Mm-hmm.
only its second year, Anime NYC had an experience that rivaled Anime Expo in terms of
Yes,
the star list, the industry support. I have never been to Anime Expo
I've
because
done.
it's across the continent.
I've been to Anime
I
Expo.
and the
It's
thing is, I
amazing.
was going to go to Anime Expo one day, but because of that very first year, or the second year of Anime NYC in general, that first year that I went, I felt, man, do I really ever need to go to Anime Expo now that there's Anime NYC?
Mm-hmm.
Because it had all of the industry support, it had all of the companies that were there that normally don't go into Canada. The problem with Canada is that they don't care about us. We get maybe a token representative from Crunchyroll, Sentai, or
Wow.
Aniplex, but here at Anime NYC, I saw big events. I saw established booths. I saw the Crunchyroll Banania plushie pit. That was awesome. Uh,
Yes.
and everything at Anime NYC is so elaborate and amazing. And
Mm-hmm.
so I've gone every year since. Now, 2019 was awesome. Then there was 2021. 2021 was when I applied to do Anime Speed Tune at Anime NYC 2021. I actually did apply to do it at 2018. I didn't apply in 2019. It was rejected in 2018. In 2021, I really thought maybe there's a chance because Anime NYC's programming time is so limited because they have to prioritize the industry events first. Fan events, there are so few open slots for fan events that
Yes.
getting a time slot at Anime NYC is like hitting the jackpot. It's the proverbial lottery for anime convention events. If you get your panel in Anime NYC, you've hit it big. So I made my application as detailed as possible. I had been recording all of my game show events all this time, and I felt that this was the moment where I could just link all of my content in my application. Like, here, watch the events I
What?
did in earlier years, and this is
Wow.
what I do, and this is how I can do it, and this is what I'm able to offer. And I worked with one of their staff, Lance. It's a newer staff which wasn't there in 2018, but
Mm-hmm.
was it part of the Anime NYC team in 2021. He took a look at my application. He liked it, and that's it. I went in, but I some people are in some of my friends and family told me don't go to Anime NYC because of COVID. But I
What?
thought to
I'm a
myself,
pharmacist. I'm in
yeah,
healthcare.
yeah,
Okay. We even though there's COVID, like we've gone a long way. Remember, New York City was the epicenter not once but twice. The first one was in the spring of 2020, and then the Omicron surge.
yeah,
Like you just wear your mask, get vaccinated. Do the safety protocol. I even did a COVID webinar in March 20 something 2020 about it. So anyway, sorry about this. Sorry to cut you off.
yeah, no problem. But I figured that 2021 was the year. If I had turned the offer down, I don't think they would call me back for 2022 because this was a year where there were almost no industry guests from Japan because of COVID. So
Correct.
they had extra
Exactly.
time slots and they wanted to give me a chance. So this was the chance. I've been doing Anime Speedtune itself for since the end of 2013. So that would have been 8 years,
Yes.
and this was a chance to hit it big because Anime NYC would have been the largest stage for me so far. So I went out of my way. I bought the plane ticket. The plane ticket cost nearly $400, so nearly
What?
3 times as much as the bus because the borders were closed. The land border was closed.
Oh, it's a
The
demand.
Canadian land border was closed,
Mm-hmm.
so you can't do that. You have to go by plane. The PCR test to even leave the country is about $100, and then you have to get
What?
another one before on the way back. Uh, so it was quite costly to even arrange to get to New York City in the first place because of all the COVID measures. But I was fortunate. I'm glad I took the plunge. Sometimes you have to take risks, and sometimes you have to take the plunge in order to get anywhere. And Anime Speed Tune at Anime NYC was an unfounded. It was a unexpected. It
270
was not
people.
found, but it was a huge success. That's the wrong word, but it was just a spectacular success.
Yes.
The room can only hold about 300 people. 500 people lined up. We had to turn people away.
Wow.
We had to turn people away, and for the first year, they only could only secure me 45 minutes, but they said pending the reaction and how things went, they would invite me back for 2022 if things went well. Now I don't want to say that I am back for 2022 because I haven't gotten the communications from them yet, but things look
Mm-hmm.
great, and it's my hope that I'll be back for 2022 with a larger time slot. Because
Mm-hmm.
the event went really, really well. Now, one thing I want to know, and this is going to come into our discussion about why Anime NYC is so expensive and why I have like such loyalty to them, because loyalty is a two-way street. You
Mm-hmm.
have to if they provide you with what you need, then you're going to go all out for them. Anime NYC was the very first convention in my 10 years of game show experience that actually provided all of the equipment that I requested. They went out of their way. If you see the video, you see that there's six players,
Yes, I
six people
saw.
on the
I
stage.
didn't see the whole thing. I
Oh,
saw
yeah,
like a beginning of it.
yeah. All six of them had microphones. That was the
Yes.
very first time a convention had provided six microphones plus my microphone, so seven microphones
Seven
in that panel
microphones.
room, and they also provided like a 40-inch player monitor for them to actually take a
Yes.
look at things. For other conventions, they're cheaper. They only provide maybe two mics, so three people have to share a mic, or two people have to share a mic. But
Gotta
here,
move the
they went out
mic.
of their way to provide seven mics. So I thought that was amazing. I was also able to go in before the convention started, open their doors and do a sound check and equipment check, and
Mm-hmm.
the staff were all really, really nice. And again, this was probably the best room, even though it was kind of small, relatively small. Hosts only 300 people. It was the best looking room I've ever hosted Enemy Speed Tune in, and
Mm-hmm.
they also provided pricing. I did not ask for pricing. They offered pricing, and I just like, wow, okay.
Wait, what's
You provided
prizing?
pricing,
What is that?
prizes for the top players.
Prizes. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
I see.
but
That's
I
extra.
didn't ask
Yeah.
for that. They offered that, so it was just a spectacular. They made so many accommodations. Just the six mics alone just uh, made me so happy, and that's why again, if they do invite me back for Anime
Mm-hmm.
NYC 2022, I will go out of the way. I will do what it takes to make that event the best ever. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So yeah,
Um,
Anime NYC will always still be my hometown con. All right, it's just I had strong opinions about it. I mean, I still love the con. I really want the con to grow, and it's important. It's great that you brought up Anime Expo. I went there in 2018 because I was that was my last vacation in 2018. The first half was in San Diego, and it was in the San Diego Convention Center, but it wasn't for San Diego Comic Con. It was for a pharmacy conference that my boss paid for. All I had to pay was for the flight, and I stayed with family there. And then the second half was Anime Expo. I went to all the days, except of course day zero because I'm autistic. I'm afraid of fireworks, and I was hearing fireworks and I was so scared. Okay, and that and Anime Expo was amazing. And I don't know about you, I love crowds. I love huge crowds. It was like I think 112,000 people in Anime Expo in the Los
yeah.
Angeles Convention Center, and it was amazing. I met one of my let's say my one of my cosplay role models, Phil Mizuno, and it was amazing. The pictures I didn't post on Instagram. It's somewhere in my computer, like in the back over there. And so I wanted something. I know New Yorkers tend to be a little arrogant, a little proud, and all that stuff. But I really want my hometown con to beat Anime Expo, and to have as much people as possible. But of course, not to the point where it becomes a fire hazard, of course. And so Anime NYC near 2021 hit a record of 53,000. But before we get into the crux of it, if it's okay to ask, I want to know what your experience is from the time you on day one on Friday. By the way, I was working on Friday. I'm a pharmacist Monday to Friday, but I was there Saturday and Sunday. I did go for Anime Expo at night. Thank you for the raid. That's Alex. That's Triforce Delgizi, if you see there. So he also went to Anime NYC. So, I was there Saturday and Sunday. But I want to know what your experience is from like day one to day two and day three.
Yeah. So for 2021, I cannot relate to all of the angry people on Friday, all the fans on Friday,
Understood.
because I was a panelist. I was able to bypass the line completely and just go in through the Crystal Palace. So I saw all of the videos that went viral, the long lineups, the frostbite, all of that. It's unfortunate. Again, I don't want to overly criticize Anime NYC because again they've been so good to me, but I do understand where people are coming from there.
Yes.
So I myself did not experience any of the lineup issues. I was able to get in. As for the Saturday and Sunday, I believe Saturday was the One Piece 1000th episode extravaganza. That was a stampede. I had to get out of the panel area, the panel hall area, because it was just absolutely wild for that. So I just went out and ate dinner at a New York restaurant, Red Rooster. So but all 3 days were great. Again, the main thing for me was hosting Anime Speedtune on Friday night. Saturday was more of just a chilling, going around stuff. Sunday was the movie day where I saw both Bell and Pompo the Cinephile. So we can talk about that later. But overall, I had a really great time at Anime NYC. I did not experience much lineups myself.
The line con.
I saw again. Sneak previews of those two movies, and plus the Crunchyroll previews of Love Is Kill and Leah Dale. So I just had an overall great time. I didn't spend too much time in the exhibit hall myself. I didn't actually buy anything in the exhibit hall. I didn't, the artist. 19 years of going to anime conventions, the artist alley is all the same. The exhibit hall, I was more interested in the industry exhibits, because those exhibits you can only find at Anime NYC. You can't find them in Toronto. You can't find them in Montreal, which is the other Otakuthon, which is the other Canadian convention I go to. Now, I want this to be more about Anime NYC, but Otakuthon is a great con. I love the staff are great there. I love the staff there. I've hosted Anime Speedtune at Otakuthon, and Otakuthon actually does get some industry support. The representatives from Crunchyroll, Sentai, Aniplex, they go to Otakuthon, but they don't bring the big stuff there because it's just very difficult to get that kind of stuff over the border.
Wow.
Whereas with Anime North, they don't, that's one of the reasons why I left. They're not really into the industry stuff, yeah.
Oh, Lord. Wow. I was about to say, je parle français quelquefois.
No.
I speak French sometimes.
No, I don't. I everyone has to learn some basic French, but then you stop taking it past grade 8. So I don't.
No, you keep using it.
It's bilingual. You can go to Otakuthon without knowing French. It's fine. It's a completely bilingual convention. There are some French-only events. They do have, but there's also English-only events as well. So because of that, it is actually the time slots there in Otakuthon are also competitive because there's only a limited number of English slots and there's also a reserved number of French slots. So again, I am fortunate
Balance.
to host Otakuthon. Host Anime Sweet at Otakuthon for that reason. And doubly so because they actually do have their own version of anime named that tune, so that's a bit of an overlap. So I did talk to them about that. I said I don't want to host Anime Speed Tune at your convention if you think that it's going to overshadow your regular Name That Tune event. And they're like, no, 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 we'd love to have you here. We can have both events. So what happens now is that Anime Name That Tune is on Fridays and Sundays, whereas I got Saturday last time. So there's one music naming event each day. So, so it works out for everyone, right?
Saturday is the peak, so that you got to take advantage of that.
Yeah, and Otakuthon, the main reason why I think it's the best Canadian convention is because it is very concert heavy. In 2019, there were 10 concerts there. 5 of them paid. They had TM Revolution, they had Miyavi, so it was a rocking time, and they really go out of their way to please the fans, even though attendance-wise they're not as large as Anime North, but I think Otakuthon is just the best con, and if you haven't went there, I highly encourage you to consider going.
I got to bring my passport. I've been to Montreal. They're pretty clean, actually.
Yeah, I highly encourage you to consider going because it is a great convention, and I'd love to see you there. Yeah.
Back with Anime NYC, I actually did a review. I should have put the review on Twitch, but I'm more active on Instagram. Man, Canada, Otakuthon, it's lit. It's in Canada. Oh, wait, one of my mods went there? Really? And also hi to Nikki Muffin. This is another one of my mods as well. So far, all of them are convention goers. So I have 6 mods. All of them go to conventions. So you see it with the green sword icons. Okay.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
So I just
Well,
want to say
hello.
hi to everyone. Hi, hello everyone. So now I've been to Anime NYC since 2017, and
The first year.
yes,
Even
since the
all
very
years.
beginning.
Okay.
And I know, well, I don't know him personally, but I see him many times. His name is Peter Tatara. He's from Queens. I'm from Queens. We're in the same borough, but we're in different neighborhoods. So New York City is the largest city in the U.S. with it's almost 9 million people. It says 8.8 million people. So,
Yeah. Metro NYC is 8 million. Yeah.
no, it's not metro. This is city proper, 5 boroughs.
Okay.
If you're talking like the metro area, it's probably 25, 26 million people. It's probably higher now because when you talk about metropolitan tri-state. Anyway, I'm very detail oriented with these things. So now with Anime NYC, like the first 2 years, maybe 2019 also, but 2017, 2018 were the peak. They were, even though it wasn't as much people as 2021, it was the con to go to. It was the alternative to New York Comic Con. And now I'm not saying New York Comic Con is bad. I'm just saying that we didn't want Anime NYC to go into that route of New York Comic Con, because New York Comic Con, it's all about taking money and all that stuff, and some people call it corporate hacks. And so it wasn't so much about the fans, it was about the money and all that. And I didn't want to get the impression that, in order to be a nerd, that you have to have deep pockets. I think anyone can be a nerd, whichever lives they can come from. All right? It's not about being rich or being accessible. It's about being you and being yourself. These conventions, especially as an autistic dealing, as an introvert most of the time, it helps me a lot. It helps me relieve a lot of stress, especially with the profession I'm dealing in. Even though I love being a pharmacist, but during the pandemic, it's tough. There was no lockdown though. I know most people had a lockdown, but I had to show up in person and I had to mask up. I was one of the first to get vaccinated. I'll tell you the vaccination part a little bit because Anime NYC was connected to the second Omicron case in the U.S. So that was kind of scary. But with my experience, it was amazing. I know Peter, and I told Peter, please do not go to that route, so to speak. And I was afraid that he kind of did for this time. So, but my experience was great. Was great. Now it's not 10 out of 10 when I did the scores, but I had a great time. Just because I have a great time doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to give a 10 out of 10, because I look at everything. I do con survival. I do these panels. I actually got approved for Anime Boston and CPAC. CPAC is a small con in New Jersey, and I talk about money management, time management, energy management. I will add social media to it in addition to networking. So I talk, and as a pharmacist, I talk about health related things as well. But that's beside the point. But with Anime NYC, that was my con to go. It's only one seat ride. I just take one train line to get there. And so now my experience with Anime NYC. I only went on Saturday and Sunday. On Friday, day one, my phone my iPhone was exploding with DMs from Instagram. I got my hands on an Anime NYC 3-day pass. By the way, site we're actually gonna get to that where there's like badge cap. All right, so people were telling me, Dean, are you at Anime NYC? I'm like, no, I'm at work. And they were telling me the lines are long. They're about a mile or 1.6 kilometers in your case. Sorry.
No, I'll convert to miles. Yeah,
Sorry
to
about
miles.
that.
No
Because
problem.
you use kilometers. I went
And
to
U.S.
Canberra.
dollars. I know
Okay.
our multicolored Canuck bucks are terrible, but it's like
Don't you call them loony and toony?
yeah, it's like $1 is like 75 cents US. I mean 75 cents Canadian. So we
They
lose. That's a
change.
25% tax. I get I lose 25% whenever I go to the U.S.
Yeah, we're dealing with inflation right now. So with the war that's going on, all that, but we're not going to talk about that one. That's beside the point. So the one of the things I tell people on my panel on con survival is to arrive to the con as early in the morning as possible. And there's a reason for that. I have line anxiety. It's weird because I love crowds. I love when it's extremely crowded. I can handle extremely crowded trains or buses, but when it comes to lines, I get panic attacks. I don't know. Maybe it's a New Yorker kind of thing because most of us are very impatient. Like, come on, let's do this. Come on, we're always in a rush. Always in a rush. Needs to go fast. Need to go fast. Okay, maybe that's why. And the other thing was I have like a ticking time bomb in my head with a countdown clock. It's because when you're stuck in a line, it's like you're not going anywhere. And it's like, what if something happens? What if you're going to be late or something? So all these things start coming in. So anyway, that's why I go very early. They had to change overnight. They had to change the line system, and it was similar to New York Comic Con. But what I was told on the lines is that it was about a mile long, and there was only one line. And then when it started snaking, where I think that's where the driveway is, someone told me that the doors open. They started bum rushing, and it's kind of embarrassing to see that. And so I started writing about it on my review. I actually have it on my notes, and I actually dedicated one big paragraph on the day one fiasco, even though I wasn't there. I was just taking accounts from what my friends were telling me, and I called day one LineCon. So I wrote down while I was at work. I saw one of the posts, and the comments were filled with a lot of anger and frustration due to lines. My own group chat even posted about the long lines. One did a live stream and spoke with other attendees, showing how long and crowded the lines were in getting even the wristbands. And that's the one where you actually have to show proof of vaccination. I don't know what Canada uses for proof of vaccination, but I don't know how you
Oh,
got
we,
it.
we use QR codes, but
Okay.
no conventions were held during this time. Like Anime NYC was the first major one, I believe. So
Mm-hmm.
nothing happened in Canada here. So I'm
Wow.
still Otakuthon 2022 will be actually the first live one that I go to. Actually, no. I'm going to Annie Revo 2022 the week before in Vancouver. I'm flying out
I have
there, so it's going
family
to be
there.
back to back. It's going to be back to back. I'm going to Vancouver the end of July, Otakuthon Montreal beginning of August.
Get your
Yeah,
coffee or your Red Bulls. I'm actually not a big fan of Red Bull. It tastes disgusting. But
yeah,
you got to get yourself a
but
scheduled plan. I
yeah.
mean, wow, you're you're amazing. I don't know how you do this.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later, like
Yeah, exactly.
the cost efficiency and all that, and how it relates to the pricing of uh, Anime NYC this year. But like I said, I'm sorry for everyone who had to experience those long lines on Friday and Saturday. Again,
Hmm.
I cannot relate to that simply because I got
Hmm.
in immediately. So.
Exactly.
Mm,
So,
it is how it is,
yeah,
and that's
it
really all I
is.
can say about that. I don't want, again, the staff at Anime NYC were trying their best, at least for me, and
Hmm.
they were so good to me that I don't want to really overly criticize them for something that I did not experience myself. So I can
Hmm.
only just listen. At the very least, I can listen to you and what everyone else has to say, but uh, you know. Um, what on Friday night, I did experience. I did see some frustration when people weren't able to attend my event because the room was full, and it was held in one of the larger rooms, but not the largest room. The largest room
Hmm.
was panel room one A or something, and that's the one
Yeah.
that's double length. It wasn't held in that room, but it was held in the. It was held in a smaller room, and people wanted to attend my event and they had to be turned away. So I
Oh
understand
my
that.
goodness. One of my friends, the one of mods, day one, he left. He's actually across the river in New Jersey. He left at 4 a.m. and he drove to Manhattan across the water. And it actually cost like I think it was $8 if I'm not mistaken, just to cross the Hudson River. So yeah, he got. Actually, I don't know if he got in there and he was able to visit the panels, but a lot of people missed almost the entire Friday because of this mess. And I felt as though, I said to myself, this is not your first con anime NYC or Peter Tatara. To be honest with you, you could have learned from other cons like New York Comic Con. Actually, New York Comic Con 2021, they got their stuff together, surprisingly. And I can, for all the disagreements I have, they planned ahead and they were kind of cutting edge with this vaccine thing, and they were given more hours for people to try to get their wristband. So they did a wristband thing. At the time, New York City had a mask and vaccine mandate. We were tough here, but if United States is a little kind of tricky. I don't know about Canada, but we want our freedoms, that kind of thing. So, but
Mhm.
yeah, on Saturday for Anime NYC, so they kind of follow what New York Comic Con did when it comes to the line. So what they did was they had in three different sections. They had one where you had the badges and the wristbands. There's one where you had the badges but did not get the wristbands, and then there's one where you have neither. And if I had all of them, so they went into this like little catch basin here, and it has this different kinds of sections. So what they'll do is you wait for a couple hours. I think they open at 9 or I think 10, but I arrived there between 7:30 and 8 because I like to go there super early because I don't want to deal with lines, okay? Because I don't want to be in this kind of, oh, I'm gonna be stuck, that kind of thing. And I want to make the most out of my experience. So, and also I was with him, Triforce Del Gizi. We were in the line on Saturday on day two. So I people were telling me, oh, you should have gotten there a little bit later, but no, I'm not taking any chances. But I felt as though it was more organized for day two and day three, so I had fun. I gave it a 7 out of 10, but it's an Instagram somewhere. You have to keep scrolling, but you'll see it there. And I still had these negative feelings, and there are people where it's just, even with the improvements of day two and day three, it just, a lot of people said, you know what, I don't want to come to this con anymore. It kind of hurts, even though I'm not even running the con, and I've said this, I think, on one of the videos where for cons to survive, you need people. I know this sounds obvious. Without people, when the con does not survive, it's gonna go gone. And just we'll talk about this a little more, as we go on. But the fact that they low key turned away people with this opening of registration, it rubs me the wrong way. No offense, but I'm sorry to be biased about it, but I'm more coming from an attendee's point of view, because I've never
Yeah.
organized a con, and I totally understand it's stressful to organize a con. If it weren't so stressful, there probably would have been a whole like 10 times more cons. Who knows? Okay, but it just takes a lot of energy, money, and the time and resources in order to make it happen, and it has to be a concerted thing. So I'm trying to be understanding of it, but it's just what message does it give when there's a cap a cap of tickets for 3 days, 4,500 tickets only, and then there's about what 1,000 14,600 for single day. Something's going on there, and I talked about it last night, and I don't have actually I do have the prices right here. So
Yeah.
it's $95. So I used to pay, I think, 50 for the first year, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I remember paying about 76, including the for 2021, including the taxes and fees, 76 and change. And then the change that I've seen, and I actually have the notes here, if I can find this. Okay, and it says, so for $95, that's a subtotal. It's okay. So Alex said that $65 back in the day. That was on for 2021, and then $55 Saturday is the first time. All right. So now for 2022, I have here that it's the subtotal is $95 for a 3 day, and then as you know, for each single day it's $65 each. Sometimes Saturday would be the more expensive, the Sunday would be less, the Friday could be less, but it was 65 all throughout. And Nikki Muffin says, and it's the same amount of Javits Center too. So in 2021, Javits Center expanded by 50%, and New York Comic Con took advantage of it. Anime NYC did not. So, and yeah, go
I
ahead.
actually want to correct you on that.
Yeah,
I
correct me. Go ahead.
do. The exhibit hall did double its size from 2019, because I was there 2019, and the 2021 exhibit hall was double the size, so they
Oh no, I was
did
talking
use
about the
up more
con and whole.
space.
No,
Oh,
sorry. I
in the
was talking
whole, yeah,
as
but
a whole, yeah, because they're
let's compare 2019 to 2021, because I believe you said 2019 was the peak, and then you said
oh no,
2021
that was
they
a
took a
back,
step
yeah.
back.
So
Yeah.
yeah, they truly did expand. I remember 2019 there was actually another event going on in addition to Anime NYC, and then 2021, yes, you're exactly right. They expanded, and we basically took over the entire, actually the Javis, all of the floor plans except all of the real estate except the newest one. Okay, so I just
I
wanted to
believe
correct myself on that.
it was all of the main area, but not the exhibit halls underground, like the floor one where the panel halls are.
Yeah.
Because I know there's the panel halls on the west side, and then the center side you have the auditorium, and on the
Mm-hmm.
east side there's like some halls that were not used. So it
I
was
think it was used for
almost.
I think it was used for the lines, if I'm not mistaken. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Oh, yeah,
because I remember I was there and they were used as lines, so
yeah.
they would release
So
they would split the
100 level,
section.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So back in with the prices, $95 subtotal, and it would be about, based on the math I've done, $120.23. I'm sorry, this is U.S. dollars. So
I can give
and
you the exact number. I paid 118 after taxes and fees.
oh,
118 USD.
118. Oh,
Yeah. Were you
I
able to get a 3-day pass? Because that's
no
how
no
much
I
you
did
should have
not.
paid.
I
Oh.
got I got 2 single day passes, so
Yeah.
Saturday and
Yeah.
Sunday, because
Yeah.
obviously I work Monday through
I believe it's
Friday.
118 for the 3-day pass after taxes and fees, and 247 for 3 single-day passes after
Two
taxes and
hundred forty
fees.
six seventy eight.
Yep.
Here it is.
Yep. Yep.
Right over
247.
here.
That's
Look at
right.
this. I,
Yep.
I did the math.
Yep.
So yeah, but the thing is though, I did it based on there was a service charge that was consistent with one, two. if you bought one, two, or three single day passes. So that's how I came up with the. So I didn't have a lot of information, so I used that 617.677% service charge. Okay, that's how I came up with all the numbers because I did a test run, but I didn't press the. I didn't do the transaction. I only did the transaction for 2 days. So another person who I befriended on Instagram spent $246.78. I spent two-thirds of it, 164.52. These are crazy prices. And one person told me, if it's an event they want to go to, they're willing to spend as much, whatever money it is. And I'm like, what's going on here? It's like, and then I had one other person tell me, oh, it's more consistent with going to Madison Square Garden watching a Knick game. And it was like going to a Knick game. They're trying to compare apples and oranges for some reason. They say, oh, a Knick game is $300. Why are you complaining about it? I don't understand where they're coming from with that. So
Yeah.
but anyway, yeah.
I'll go through that argument in a bit, but yeah. Again,
Yeah.
I bought the 3 day pass. I clicked, I believe, immediately. I believe 2 seconds before 5 p.m. The link opened up, and I clicked, and I had to wait 19 minutes in line. It frightened me because in the beginning it said your estimated wait time is over an hour, and then
Yikes.
there's a little progress bar with an animated walking stick
That's
figure.
what I saw.
Yeah, and I was just praying for the stick figure to power up, and eventually the stick figure went Super Saiyan and then started walking, and it changed from over an hour to under 15 minutes, and I'm like, woo! And I got my pass. So yeah, now the thing is, in all likelihood, I might not need the pass. I got the pass only in the event that Anime NYC does not accept Speedtune this year. So I still had to get the pass. If they don't accept the event for whatever reason, again, nothing is guaranteed. I believe that they truly did enjoy my event and they loved having me there. But things can happen. But if Anime Speedtune is accepted again for the 2022, then I have a pass to give away. Like, I don't need the pass anymore. I'll give it away or get a refund, or I think giving it away or selling it at cost, because I don't want to scalp. I don't want to profit off this. I'm a fan first and foremost, but I did have to get it in the unlikely event that Anime Speedtune isn't accepted this year.
All right, so later on, they're going to have something called Light. It's a kind of program where you can actually sell your badges, and then you get your refund, and then it gets into circulation. So for those who want to get the 3 day badges, it's there. So, but we didn't get much details. The only details I got from the website is it's coming soon, and they're going to use that software. That's the software that New York Comic Con uses. By the way, New York Comic Con, that's the largest general con in the U.S.
Yeah.
Like San Diego Comic Con is like very close second. So
yeah,
but that's just a side note. I know I like to kind of brag about it because it's my hometown con.
So yeah, I think it's about time that we start, discussing and debating the cost of Anime NYC 2020.
Yes.
Like, we've been talking for about an hour now, and so now it's time to get into the crux of the argument. So, the reason $95. Now, I have the opinion that the $95 price, like even at $95, the convention is underpriced. And here's why. Here's where I'm coming from. When I started going to anime conventions, I was in high school. I didn't have a lot of money. In fact, the very first anime convention I went to in 2003, Anime North 2003, I shared the room with 9 other men, and we all had to sleep in the same hotel room, and so that each of us only paid like $20 or $30 for the whole weekend. Like, there were 2 beds, 2 queen size beds. 3 people slept in each of the queen size bed, and 4 people slept on the floor, and I had to sleep on one of the floors. So I got a little bit of discount. I spent $20. So that was the discount. Like, you can spend more and sleep on the bed, or you can spend less and sleep on the floor. So I know how I know the money crunch of some anime fans, and especially because anime is targeted towards teenagers and people in college and just the younger demographic. They might not have a lot of money, or whatever money they do have, goes toward tuition for
Mm-hmm.
college. So
And bills.
it's tough. It is definitely tough, and I know that anime isn't a cheap hobby if you want to keep up with the latest stuff. Now, there's a lot of ways to get into anime without spending much. You can always go to the library. You can borrow manga there. You can have a free Crunchyroll or Funimation account and watch a lot of older stuff. They have a lot of older shows, really good shows that you can watch for free on Crunchyroll and Funimation, and you don't have to pay for anything for that. But if you want to keep up with the Joneses, you want
Yes.
to watch the modern stuff, the stuff that everyone's talking about, the in crowd, you want to watch the latest and greatest, like the latest stuff that came out last year, Demon Slayer, the latest seasons of Attack on Titan, you have to pay up. And that's how the industry survives. Because if anime, it's an entertainment medium, but people have to make a living. People have to make money, and so there are ways to get into the fandom without spending a lot of money, but it's shifted towards older stuff, and that's the same for pretty much any hobby, like computer gaming. You can play computer games from 10 years ago for almost nothing. You don't need a good computer for that. But if you want to play the latest AAA games, you have to have those $2,000 video cards. They cost so much now, and whatever, and a great gaming computer. Or a PS5, which gets scalped for $1,000 nowadays. So I think anime works like that. But I now am fortunate enough. I'm not bragging. I'm not rich, but I'm fortunate enough to have not lost my job during the pandemic. I'm fortunate enough to have a decent job and have some
Thank
decent
goodness.
amount of spending money. And I could go using that money, that $2,000 over budget for anime conventions. I could go to any anime convention in North America with that money, but I choose to go to Anime NYC. And the reason why I chose Anime NYC over every other American convention is because they have those events, they have that industry presence that no other convention has. Besides Anime Expo, but Anime Expo has over 100,000 people, and there are horror stories about that one. People, you have people there saying that it's too crowded. It was the worst
So,
experience ever, and also it's some people don't like that. So, and Anime NYC is close. Other Anime Expo, I have to spend so much money on a plane ticket, right? Whereas with Anime NYC, normally it's just a bus for $150, an overnight bus for $150, or a plane for 400.
yikes, yes.
These are Canadian dollars, so they're inflated. So I'll say 300 US and
Yeah.
$100 US for the
I
bus.
mean,
There, does
it's
that
not
sound
much of a
better? Yeah.
difference. Who knows?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's two
anything
thirds.
can
It's two
change.
thirds.
Yeah.
Everything is inflated by a third because of Canadian dollars. So yeah, I have to mentally
It's
convert
okay.
back to US dollars so that you get the idea. But Anime NYC has a lot of things that other conventions don't have, and I believe it is okay. Especially in particular, the company Aniplex.
Oh, I love it.
Aniplex only puts up their major booths at 4 conventions in the U.S. Anime Expo, Anime Centro, Anime NYC, and Anime Weekend Atlanta. Those were the only 4 conventions that had the Fate Grand Order exhibit in 2019. That
I saw it.
huge museum, that huge
Yes.
exhibit.
I
Okay,
s-
that was 2019 was worth it for that alone. Come on, that was amazing. You
Yes.
know how huge that exhibit was.
I,
You were
w-
there, right?
I was out on the outside. I didn't go inside, but I saw the Fate
Yeah.
World Order. It was massive. But what's even more is that I see all these on the really high ceilings, like Funimation, on Aniplex, as you said, Crunchyroll, Viz Media, MiHoYo, I think. I'm not sure if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But those things, they were like really huge, and you don't see that much because of, obviously, due to the pandemic. And my reason for coming to Anime NYC is simply because that's my hometown con, and it again takes only one subway line to get there from my house.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to do better, because this is this is like the home turf kind of thing. And yes, I am biased about the crowds because I love big crowds, but I do understand for not everyone likes big crowds. I know there are people in who have autism as well who are not a big fan of crowds. But just letting you know that we're all, it's Autism Awareness Month and all that. April
Yeah.
2nd is Autism Awareness Day, and it's kind of a coincidence, but I gotta tell you, we're all a spectrum. But that's beside the point.
Yeah.
But yeah, now the reason why I go to these conventions as a stress reliever, and it's not just for the industry stuff. A lot of the stuff is the photo shoots, the panels. As I said, I got approved for doing a panel for two other cons, and I was like, I just feel so humbled about it. But it's not my first time. But going through dealer's room and merge hall and artist alley, I don't buy a lot of stuff, but I love to interact with people. And since you spend God knows how much money, whichever con you go to, you want to make the most out of it. So when I do con reviews, I take notes, and I try to go to every single square footage at least once, maybe another round twice, and that's to really get the most out of it. Because for a lot of people, they may go to cons for maybe once or twice a year. I go maybe on average once a month. All right. Now there'll be some months where it's more than one, but as I said, on average, okay, there'll be some months I don't go, and there'll be some months where it's like two or more. And it's a way for me to again relieve stress, can reconnect with friends, and connect with even more people. And it's a network thing as well. And there are people where we made bridges, and we bounce each other's ideas, and we grow. And so that's the thing. Now, if you see my Instagram, you'll see like COVID and all that stuff, but I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
But I'm that kind of source for people, especially who are who are nerds, the cosplayers and all that. They call me the Dr. Fauci of the cosplay community because I've been putting COVID stuff and I've been putting health related stuff in addition to cosplay stuff. So I tend to mix around. So going to cons in general, especially with Anime NYC, the big thing is really that kind of trying to get away from reality, because life sucks, life's stressful. Okay.
Exactly.
And try to just balance out between work and play. And I love being a pharmacist, but there's always sometimes you always like to be a little well-rounded and try to explore certain things, even though that's kind of little weird for an autistic, because autistic likes the same thing and all that. But I think this is different because these are two things that I have this kind of interest, being a pharmacist, like being in healthcare with medications and treatments, but on this other hand, anime, cons, cosplay, all these nerdy things. So I guess for both of us, we have different reasons for going to a con, but we all have this unifying thing. It's to have
we love
fun.
anime. Yeah, and we love anime.
And the love of anime, exactly.
We want to meet people. All right.
Yeah.
So here's where I'm coming from.
Yes.
Toronto really only has one anime convention. There actually are two, but there's another one that I work for, International Fan Festival Toronto. They've had to cancel 3 years in a row because they're a sister convention of Anime Revolution in Vancouver. It's by the same staff, but they decided to just hold off until 2023 so that they can secure more Japanese guests, so that because that was a big draw of International Fan Festival Toronto compared to Anime North, which doesn't really focus too much on Japanese guests. But if you don't like Anime North, there's in Canada, in the Eastern Canada, there's really only Otakuthon, and that's it.
Yes.
That's two. We only have two anime conventions, so it's either Anime North or wait for IFFT next year or travel 350 miles to Montreal. In your area, though, it's different. If you don't want to go to Anime NYC, there's a lot of choice. You can take is the bus to Boston still $20? The New York to Boston bus in Chinatown?
It depends. I don't use the Chinatown one. I don't trust them. but I like Amtrak.
I heard, but yeah, you can take a cheapo bus to Boston for Anime
Yeah,
Boston. You can go to Otakon
that's
later
right. That's where I'm
in
going.
Washington D.C. You know, you can
Exactly.
go to you can go to
Katsucon.
Katsucon in Maryland.
I went there this year. Yes,
Yeah, Anime
they're
Next was canceled this year, but they're in
third year in
Atlantic
a
City.
row.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
there is
there's a
CPAC.
lot of choice. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of choice in your area, and you don't know how good you have it because I have two choices or go to the U.S. You have the pick of the litter to choose from all these different kinds
Mm-hmm.
of conventions, and they all have different sizes. They all have different goals in mind. With that in mind, Anime NYC is the big industry one, and that's what it has over all of the other conventions. So I went to Anime Boston 1 year in 2011, but I had a great time, but I have not been to Anime Boston since, and the reason for that is because I don't think it's worth my money, my days off to go to that convention again because it doesn't have the events that I'm looking for, and that's the
Mm-hmm.
main reason to go out there. But Anime NYC does. Anime
Yes.
NYC has the sneak previews. I saw those Bell and Pompo 6 months before they hit theaters.
Wow.
I saw sneak previews of new shows that weren't even out in Japan yet. Love is Kill and In the Land of Leodale. Those are experiences at Anime NYC that you can't get at any of those other smaller conventions.
In North
You
America,
know, yeah,
in
and,
general.
you get those Any Song stars. That's why they originally why I went in 2018. The Any Song Landis Matsuri, and in 2021 you had I mean not 2020 2019 you had Emer
Mm-hmm.
and Guilty Kiss at Anime NYC
Yep.
2019, and the Guilty Kiss concert, that concert sold out in minutes, just like the weekend passes here in 2022. So lots of people, not just me, but lots of people from across the country travel to Anime NYC for the events that they cannot get at local, smaller conventions.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that in mind, that's why I think that Anime NYC's weekend pass price of $95 is underpriced. In fact, here this is a controversial take. You're probably gonna get upset. I think it's underpriced at $195. So compared to let's take Anime Expo for example.
Yes,
Anime
I went
Expo's
there.
pass this year is $140. I
140
wouldn't buy
US
that pass.
dollars.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy
I
that
don't
at
remember
140.
spending $140 back in
No, this year it's
2018.
140. The
Wow.
VIP pass. You know how much the VIP pass for Anime Expo this year cost?
200.
$550. That's to pass all the lines.
$550.
550. So that is the ceiling. That is for the ultimate experience at Anime Expo, where you get access to the concerts, you get to skip the lines, all of that. $550. If I were to go to Anime Expo, I would buy the VIP pass for 550. And the reason why for that is because
Wow.
I don't want to travel across the country to sit in lines all day, because there's no price. You're willing, if you're going that far for a convention, you're willing to spend whatever it takes to have a good time. And I think
That's what someone
that's
told
what
me.
Anime NYC's leaning towards. Like even at Otakuthon, our Canadian convention, they had a regular pass for $60 Canadian, which is
Yes.
$45 US.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had the VIP pass for access to all of the concerts for 200 Canadian or 160 US. And that was a great deal because you got access to all 5 paid concerts. Separately, if you were to pay $20 to $30 for each concert, it makes up for itself, right? It covers that cost. And for even in 2019, when I saw Bell and Pompo, those you can only really see those films in advance at film festivals. You know how much a film festival charges for movies? Like
I have
20
no idea.
$25. So by watching those two movies alone, it made up for the price of the pass for Anime NYC 2019 in 2019. I mean 2020, yeah, in 2021, I mean, sorry, not 2019,
Yes.
2021. So, that's worth $40, $50 by itself just for watching those two movies, and you still have those two other days of the convention. So when I heard that Anime NYC was raising the prices to $95, I'm like, it's still a bargain. And then when I saw that people are resorting to buying 3 one-day passes for $195, I said, I'm not trying to brag about having money here. No one likes to pay extra money for anything, okay? That's
Exactly.
completely obvious. But given the circumstance, I think for what you get at Anime NYC, like if 2022 is the quality of 2019, let's forget 2021 with all of the COVID, all of the LineCon, all of that heartache and grief. If 2022 has the same amount of quality as 2019, I think 195 for 3 one-day passes is a bargain. And this is where we get to the other events in New York City, like sporting events, Broadway musicals. I took a look around before this podcast about how
Yes.
expensive Broadway musical tickets are for a good seat, not just not nosebleed, but like field level seat
Yes.
where you can you're up against the stage. Yeah, a Broadway musical ticket costs $250. A sporting event field level is $250 plus. A good dinner in New York City is probably over $100 for two plus tax and tip.
Yeah.
So, given all of that, I feel that the people complaining that 195 for a 3 day pass, 3 days of fun and excitement at Anime NYC, I feel they don't know how good they have it. I feel 195 is underpriced, especially when you consider that Anime NYC does not have a VIP pass yet. Now, if they do ever
No,
make a
they don't.
VIP pass, it cannot be above the price of Anime Expo because Anime Expo sets the ceiling because that's the
Yes.
biggest one. That's
Yes.
550. So my question to you is, after hearing all that, how how much do you consider the Anime NYC experience to be? Like, consider all of the other conventions that you go to, like the equivalent prices, what you get out of them. How much would you pay for a weekend pass for Anime NYC? What do you think is a good, like, an acceptable price given all of what I've said? Like, you can go to a local convention and pay only
Yes.
$40 or $50 for a weekend pass. They're not gonna have all the stuff that Anime NYC does. So, this is where I'm coming from, right? Anime NYC has grown in just 5 years to be the number two convention in anime convention in North America, and in my mind, number one because it's Anime Expo, but without all the crowding, without all the crowding and extra costs,
Thank you.
and Anime NYC, honestly is for me, like the top convention, like Otakuthon, maybe it is the top convention for me because I know the staff personally. I've worked with so much staff and it's really kind. But Anime NYC is just a whole different thing. Like I think they're like one Otakuthon and Anime NYC for me are 1A and 1B. I really can't rank one above the other because of how different the experience is. But that's the thing. They're both different experiences. One is an industry-driven convention. The other one is a more fan-driven convention. And given that, uh, I think 195 actually is underpriced, and I was wondering, what do you value Anime NYC at? That's the
Yes.
big question, really. And go
Yes.
ahead.
I will
Feel free to
answer.
disagree.
I will answer the question. Okay. So this is how before I get into that. I don't really even though I live in New York City for 33 years. I'm 34 by the way. So I'm not big into the Broadway. It's just too expensive. I'm not into the sports and all that stuff. But given your con experience and all that, and the fact that I've taken Anime NYC for granted, I would say, given what's going on, I'd say $95 would be. Now that I think about it, is more. It's kind of reasonable. I just the thing with the badge capping really pissed me off. Okay, so I mean, you sold me. I just think that there. I
What if
think
you take,
this.
yeah,
Yeah, go
here,
ahead.
before you go on, what if you take a look at it from another perspective? Like, this is not going to change the numbers, and I know it's like a PR spin doctor move, and it's a really dickish move.
It is.
Let's say if let's say Anime NYC made the passes 195 from the get-go and said the first 4,500 get half off. Do you feel that would piss off less people?
Yes, I believe so. I think that would piss off.
because nothing has changed. It's just Spin Doctor advertising.
Yes, I think it would piss off a little less people. To be honest with you, but honestly, I think 45 is a little less. I think, as I've said, I really want, maybe this is for bragging rights or whatnot, but I really want Anime NYC to beat Anime Expo when it comes to attendance numbers and use all of Javits basically, not just the regular rooms. Just use also that new space that was built, yes, last year, and and maybe even beat New York Comic
I
Con.
totally agree.
Okay,
I
this
think
is for
for
the
a
con
con,
to
yeah.
survive.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I was about to say this is for the con to survive and some for a con to be proud of for us New Yorkers or for those who live in the New York City tri-state area. Something where, you know what, we have something that's part of us, just like, the Freedom Tower near, like, Empire State Building.
Yeah.
I know I'm going a little very farther with it, but I'm talking about, in our fandom at least, we have, our mark. you know, LA has AX, of course, that's Anime Expo. Let's see, Chicago has Anime Central. New Jersey has a couple anime cons, maybe Anime Next, but that got canceled. DC has two, Katsucon and Otakon. Boston, obviously, Anime Boston, that kind of thing. We just want that to know that we just want to have like something where we're something that we're proud of, and when we see that snafu, that it's like, is that who we are?
Yeah.
Oh, Awesome Con in DC is just one of the smaller cons, just as Alex said. But it just gives us kind of a bad credibility kind of thing, and that's not how anime cons should be. Anime cons should be a bastion. It should be an oasis in the middle of all this vitriol and all this toxicity going on. Even though there is some talk, I'm not saying there isn't any toxicity in the con scene, but at least this we want something that that we can treasure, and
Yeah.
and something that is open to everyone who loves anime, and it's open to everyone who wants to know about anime and who wants to be interested to anime. That's why it's from now that I think about it, it's more than just the price. It's also this
It's the
accessibility
experience.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, one thing about Anime NYC I noticed is that the exhibit hall is great and all with all of the industry support, but for whatever reason, Anime NYC only has 6 panel rooms.
Oh, yes.
Otaku-san has half the attendees and has maybe 3 or 4 times the panel rooms. Same with other conventions. You've probably been to plenty of other conventions with more than 6 panel rooms, but they only
Exactly.
have 25% of the attendance. And I think
Exactly.
that's one thing to do it, because the panel room space. Panels are where you meet people and you meet new friends, and you make new friends and discuss with others about topics. And I think panel space at Anime NYC is such a premium, because most of that, they only have 6 panel rooms, and most of the time slots are for industry events, and that's understandable. But that means that the remaining panels time slots are so competitive, and that's why I just dropped when I got accepted into into 2021 with Splatoon. I just dropped everything and just vowed to make that a great event, and because I knew that if I skipped it, I wouldn't have another chance. And
Exactly. It's a once
but
in a
again,
lifetime thing.
even though I got in, they probably had hundreds of applications that they had to reject. And again,
Mine was one of them.
I'm fortunate. My application got through. I don't think I would have gotten accepted had I not recorded all my past and said, "This is my resume. This is what I do. Watch." And and I think it was just a culmination of not 9 years of hard work doing the game shows. But again, I think Anime NYC should look into expanding its panel area content. Maybe have more
Exactly.
panel rooms, maybe have more events other than at the exhibit hall, because I know that the exhibit hall closes at 7 p.m. Now you have 30,000 plus people, in a given day. That's 53,000 total, but 30,000
Yes.
people in that area. They want to do something. It's 7 p.m. They're still awake. They're not all going to go to dinner, and so they all. You know what they do? They all hang around the panel area, and that's why all of the panels past 7 p.m. are absolutely packed, and you have to turn people away because there's nothing else to do in the convention. And I think that is one of the things that Anime NYC should look to improving is like have events. The main events are great. The exhibit hall is great, but your panel rooms, you only have 6 of them, and that's probably one reason why 500 plus people tried to get into my event, and we had to turn half of them away because there was nothing else going on. And
I have to look into my reviews. I don't know if I wrote that one, but there were lack of
yeah,
panel rooms. That I wrote that. I should have wrote. Maybe I should have wrote that there should be bigger. Maybe I did because I was turned down not once but twice at a panel. The first one was Samantha B. I don't know if you know her. She does Full Frontal. It's similar to Daily Show, and then the other one was a Naruto panel with I think it was with Meili Flanagan. That's the voice. She's the voice actress for Naruto. I met her in person, but I wanted to join the panel. But even
yeah.
if you arrive 1 hour early, they still turned me down
Yeah,
on that.
and what
But that
you
wasn't
know that
2021.
that yeah, and that experience for fans is it's terrible for fans because you line up 1 hour to go to an event and then you have one of your so that means you spend half of your con time sitting or waiting in line. And that is one
Exactly.
reason why I said, if I were to go to Anime Expo, I'm paying $550 for the VIP pass. It is a huge chunk of money. But if it means not wasting half the con in line, then I'm gonna do it, and other people are gonna do it, and it's people do it because the VIP passes, even at $550 for Anime Expo, they sell out. They sell out
Yes, they
fast. They
do.
sell out faster than the regular passes. So there are people who who don't care what the cost. They just want to have a great time. But now you have this situation where you have the people with a budget, with money, and the people who don't have that sort of money. And now it's where it's coming from. They're being priced out. People even living in New York City. Not everyone. New York City is probably the richest city, but not everyone in the city is rich.
Myself
And
included.
you're
I mean,
very
I'm okay.
well of that. Yeah, you're
Yes.
very well aware of that. And so those people are being priced out of their own hometown convention simply because it's there are people across the country who are willing to pay more. And but that's the thing is that I'm not saying not to go to Anime NYC. There's no way I'm
No.
not I would suggest that, but I'm just saying that in that event that someone is unable to afford Anime NYC, you do have other conventions around in the area, whereas in Toronto here, you go to
I have
Anime
one or
North,
two.
and if there's some reason you don't want to go to Anime North, yeah, go to Montreal. That's it. I have two choices, whereas in your area you have not just Anime NYC, but all of these other
Yes.
smaller, fan-friendly, more intimate conventions. And so, Anime NYC, it's the premium one, right? It's
Yeah, I didn't
man,
think about
you can
that.
go for one day for 65,
Plus
but
taxes and fees.
people, they want to go all through, and it's understandable. They want to spend the whole weekend at Anime NYC, and it's the only con you've been to. Now, if you've been going since the first year, since 2017, when weekend pass was $50, you probably think that the 22 passes are highway robbery compared 195 versus 50. It's 4 times the price, but
Yes.
that's just how conventions are now, and it's tough. No one wants to pay more, but the thing is that the people want it's just a matter of supply and demand, I guess.
You're right.
People like me, who have the means to go to any convention in North America, are choosing Anime NYC above all the others simply for the experience it provides. And there isn't. It's unlike any other. It's why people spend thousands of dollars at Disney World versus a theme park in their own state. They take a plane to Orlando, to Florida, and stay at Disney World because it provides an experience like no other. And I think Anime NYC has reached that point. Maybe the first or second years, maybe it's just it's another anime convention with some industry support. But I think at this point where you get those sneak peek events where you can't get anywhere else, you have Aniplex there, Aniplex Crunchyroll Funimation there with huge elaborate exhibits that you can't get at any other anime convention. People are willing to pay for that, and it's modern stuff. Like you see the exhibit hall, they are focusing on the new stuff, the latest and greatest in Japan. And in order for that industry to thrive, the market, they cater to the latest and greatest because that's where all the money is. They're not. I see like all these other fan conventions, they still focus on old franchises such as Cowboy Bebop and Sailor Moon and even Power Rangers. Let's get outside of anime for a moment. Power Rangers, Star Wars, and there's a lot of conventions that cater to those, and they even have events based on those older franchises.
Yes.
But Anime NYC, is one of the only conventions where I can meet people who actually watch seasonal anime. In Toronto at Anime North, I found it very difficult to find other people who are actually watching seasonal anime. Like last year, I watched over 150 shows. Not all of them from 2021. I watched, I believe, 107 2021 anime because I think 2021 was the greatest year in anime ever. But
Whoa.
Anime NYC is a mecca where there are events that cater to the latest and the greatest. And again, that's somewhere I'm willing to spend that amount of money. And if it shuts out other people in New York City, I do feel for them, but they don't realize, some of them probably don't realize how good Anime NYC is in comparison to other anime conventions across the country, that don't have that sort of content. The only thing that Anime NYC is lacking in is fan panel content, and that's because they only have 6 panel rooms. But when it comes to industry content, it's second to none. It's like you have Anime Expo, Anime NYC, and maybe Anime Weekend Atlanta, because I've never been there. I can't really say for sure.
Yeah, I never went there either.
That's about it. Like when I first started conventions in 2003, there were only 2 major conventions: Anime Expo and Otakon. Because Otakon, before Anime NYC, there was Otakon.
Yes,
and Otakon had all the big industry presence when they were located in Baltimore. And then after the Baltimore riots, Anime NYC kind of took its place. But that's Politico. We won't get there. But Anime NYC has surpassed Otakon in under 5 years. And that's
true. It's actually true. It's based on AnimeCons.com, which is run by his name is one of
Patrick Delanty. He is.
Yes, I met him.
I don't. Yeah, I believe. Yeah, he was one of the founders of Anime Boston. I don't. I'm not sure if he still is staff there because I don't really look into those sort of things. But yeah, he was one of the founders of Anime Boston.
Yes, I met him in 2018 and 2019. And I talked to him about it, and I said, "Hey, I'm Waldo Dean. I review cons as well, and I do all these things. And thank you for doing the website." And I was so happy to meet him. And I also talked about the con survival thing also that was playing because
Yeah, I don't know him personally. Again, I've communicated with them indirectly through the subreddit r/AnimeCons. I'm actually a moderator there, so I have to kind of keep things neutral because I'm a moderator, so I can't really show my events there. I try to keep it as neutral as possible, and try not to take sides. Like one of the things that Patrick and I disagreed on was whether or not to recognize Anime Matsuri in Houston, because of all the drama surrounding and controversy surrounding Anime Matsuri. But I said, you know what? there are anime fans who do not care about that controversy,
Mm-hmm.
it is a convention that still gets over 10,000 people.
Yes,
It has to be on the sidebar for major anime conventions because we call major
I
anime
agree.
conventions anything with over 10,000. So, some people wanted it removed from the list, but I said, no, we are keeping this neutral. I understand your stance on Anime Matsuri, but because there are 10,000 people who go to that convention, it's staying on the list. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
I think of 10,000 or more as a large con, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
For that subreddit, I try to list everything 10,000 or more that's based on general anime, and I highlight those that are over 30,000. Anime NYC being one of them,
yes.
with significant industry support. So there are only 5 such cons that we've highlighted. Again, it's the 4 cons that Aniplex makes a major commitment to: Anime
Mm-hmm.
Central, Anime Expo, Anime
Anime
NYC, and
NYC, and Anime
AWA.
Weekend. Yes, 8 hour.
And the 5th con, of course, is Crunchyroll Expo now.
Oh,
So,
whoa.
yeah. Because
Wow.
Crunchyroll Expo is going to be huge now that Crunchyroll acquired Funimation.
Funimation, yeah. I
So
still have my
that's a
Funimation
big
app.
one. That's going to be a big one.
Wow.
Obviously, Sentai won't be at Crunchyroll Expo because they're
No. Yeah, that's the
competitors,
other one.
but it's,
Sentai
yeah.
Sentai was at Anime NYC as well.
Yeah.
So my friend, so okay, so Crunchyroll Expo and Fanime, they're actually in the San Jose McHenry Convention Center. I have a friend who lives there. Actually lives near that area in San Jose. So I have a feeling. I don't know. Maybe I'm considering. I have family in San Francisco as well, and even though I've never taken the BART, since I'm a transit guy, I can actually navigate through the BART. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, AnimeCons.com, they used to, every year, they used to do a top 10 most attended anime cons, and they stopped.
They stopped. The reason why they stopped because Patrick believed that people were getting the idea that larger is better, which it
Which
isn't.
is not always
I
the
will be the
case.
first person who would tell you that larger is not always better. But
Exactly.
he said he thought so. That's why he stopped reporting. He also stopped reporting because some conventions report turnstile, where they count a weekend pass as 3 and a day pass as 1. Whereas other conventions don't. So it was all self-reporting. So the numbers can be all over the place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like for Anime NYC, they count the weekend as 1 and they count the day passes as 1. So that's why they came up with the numbers that they did. Because if you do the math, 14,600 times 3 plus the 4,500
It's about
gets you about
50,000.
48,000
Yeah.
something. And that is close to the 53,000 that they got last year, and that's why they allocated the numbers that way, so that they get close to 50,000. And 48,000 and change is still more in their mind, is still more than what they got in 2019. I forgot what was 2019. 45,000. I think it was like 45,000 something. So
I have to double check that.
yeah.
Let me see something. Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I have
You
the
know what? You
list.
check while I talk.
Yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, that's why they allocated their numbers as such. Because if they allocated more weekend passes, then their overall attendance would be going down. Because
Exactly.
a 3 day pass counts as 1, whereas 1 day pass also counts as 1. So again, that's
46,000.
yeah.
2019 was 46,000. So
Yeah.
you were on the ball, very close.
Yeah. So yeah. So that's why he allocated the things up, but that's also why Patrick stopped reporting top 10 cons. And again, the larger cons are becoming increasingly more and more expensive as they acquire bigger, more costly talent. Like, it's not cheap to fly in stars from Japan. That's why a lot of smaller cons, they don't do that. They just keep the local guests, and that keeps the costs low. But
Yes.
you go to part of the reason why Anime NYC is so expensive is because they attract top talent for their guest list. Now, 2022, it remains to be seen, because that might be an exception for 2022. They might not have any guests, and I think that's another reason why there was a lot of negativity for 2021, because there were, I believe, only two Japanese guests in person in 2021. The composer for My Hero Academia, and what was
Yes.
the other one? The director who did Blade Runner. Blade Runner
Yes, that's
director.
right.
Yeah, I
And
was in touch
yeah,
with that.
my one of my friends from Brooklyn actually saw the concert for the one who created the songs for My Hero Academia, and oh my good, at the time I think it was Friday when I was working, but you know,
Yeah, I couldn't go to it because I had my event, my speed tune event.
well, that was on a Friday too.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
on
it was on a
the concert was on
Friday.
the Friday. Yeah, concert was on
Wow,
the
and
Friday.
that turnout's pretty good. I gotta tell you, and congratulations on that panel. And also I have my list. The 2019 list actually was I actually made that list. So the last list that Patrick did was 2018. So when 2019 hit, he said, I mean, like early 2019, he said, "Oh, let me answer your question. There's no list because, as you said, just because it's more cons doesn't more people attending cons doesn't necessarily mean it's better. Maybe for me it is, but I'm just saying, just to be objective, just because there's more people going there doesn't necessarily mean it's better. He even said, and I agree with him, that smaller cons can be a good experience as well. So this is as of 2019, and it's very hard to find statistics now on cons, like in terms of how many people have went to. But this is based on looking at the websites and everything. So 2019, I have Anime Expo's number one. I think it's probably still number one, even though I think
By far, it's more than double the size of the next highest
yeah.
one.
So it's
So yeah.
about 115,000 people for 2019, and I don't know what the attendance will be for 2022. It was canceled twice, 2020, 2021, because of what. Anime NYC was 46,000. Acon in Dallas Fort Worth area is 34,600. FanimeCon, that's my friend's con in San Jose, about 34,000. Anime Central, that's in Chicago. I have family in Chicago, 33,084. Awa Anime Weekend Atlanta, 32,000. Anime Matsuri, 30,000 is approximate. Otakon, 28,472. Anime Boston was about 25,000. It was tied with SakuraCon in Seattle at 25,000. Again, this is 2019. Okay, now what I also wanted to bring up here. Yes, go
Mhm.
ahead.
No, I think like Anime North and
Oh, no, it's
Otaku-san
only
will
U.S.
probably
I'm
make the
sorry.
list. Yeah, will probably
It's
because I
U.S.
believe Anime North was at 32K and Otaku-san was at 25. So yeah,
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes it's only for the U.S. actually.
yeah.
So yeah, and there was also one reason that I just remembered that Patrick told me. They not told me, but said in a video that Anime Expo is way high, and then when you get to between number 2 and number 10, when you do top 10, the difference is not that high. It's like between number 2 and number 10 is about 21,000 people, but when you go from Anime NYC to Anime Expo, as you pointed out, that's more than 3 times. So 46,000. That's almost seven.
Yeah.
That's 69,000 more people between number one, number two.
Yeah.
So that couple thousand people in between the rankings may not make a big difference because you're not going to know it, especially since they're in these venues. Obviously, they have to be big. So
Yeah.
and just because it's that number or this or that number, and as you said, it just doesn't necessarily make the con experience better or worse, and it's subjective too because it depends on how people experience it. And it's on an individual basis, and of course there's like certain trends, of course. All right, I'll give you one example. Katsucon didn't make it to the top 10 list, but it's still crowded, and it has one of the best venues with one of the best photo shoots locations. So I had a great time. I think I gave it an 8 out of 10 if I'm not mistaken. I also did a
Yeah.
review on
I,
that.
yeah,
It's on
I
my
saw the
YouTube.
schedule, and yeah, that's a comprehensive panel schedule. That was a comprehensive panel schedule.
It
A little
is.
bit lacking in the game shows. Like I could, if they
Yes,
ever
I
messaged me
agree.
about that, but yeah, that's where
Yeah,
they'd have to contact me about that.
mine's an educational panel for con survival. You will see it on my YouTube channel. you'll see one where I did a webinar and I collaborated with one of my Twitch mods. Her name's
Yeah.
Cadmesis. She lives across the water. She lives in New Jersey, so she also went to Anime NYC as well, and so she was surprised about the prices too. Okay, so with the Katsucon, had a great time. I planned everything out. People thought I was a local. I'm not. I'm from New York City, but I know how to get around the metro. WMATA, WMATA, whatever that is, with the metro rail and the buses. Because again, I planned everything out. If you live in New York City and you take public transit every single day, I think most other transportation systems would be like a piece of cake if you put like a little bit of research.
Yeah.
Okay, like where you are in Toronto, you're actually expanding with subway lines.
No, not really
Not
subways.
really.
It's light rail. It's like
Light
our
rail.
next line that opened. It's a glorified streetcar. That's it. But
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
I take the transit extensively. That's another topic for another day. But
Yeah,
yeah, I'm well
exactly. I don't know if
versed in
you're a
transit,
transit guy,
taking
but
everywhere.
you know.
I am a transit buff. Yep, I have to be.
Yes, transit.
So
Yes.
you know,
Okay.
I actually know down to the models of the trains. So
Yeah,
all
I don't
that.
know those trains. I'm not feeling it with the trains in TTC. By the way, one of our former transit presidents was a transit president for TTC. His
Yep.
name was Andy Byford.
Yep. Andy Byford was a TC chair. What happened with him? He accelerated the building of, well, not really accelerated, because there was a subway expansion project to create 6 new subway stations, and it was overrun with delays and cost overruns. And so what he did was he came in, he fired the contractors, he hired a different contractor to finish up what the other what couldn't be done, and then he got that expansion up and running, and then he moved to New York like a month after that. So he
But
got his mission done, and then he went to New York, and now he's no longer the
he didn't
commissioner of
last
New
long in
York.
New York.
He went to London.
Yep,
So
that's
that's
where he's
it.
that's where he's from.
I
Yeah,
think
mhm.
I think he moved around because there's a lot of bureaucracy,
It
and
is.
he got I think he just got fed up with a lot of bureaucracy, both
He
Toronto
got
and New
fed up.
York.
He was called Train Daddy, and I was not 50-50, but as a person he was amazing. Okay, like he set an example. But since we are New Yorkers, we're very impatient. It's like we didn't see a lot of improvement. Okay, now there was improvement statistically speaking, but same thing with crime. You can
Yeah.
see an improvement in crime statistically, or improvement of service statistically, but if the like for me, if the trains are still delayed, like even if it's 5 minutes, it pisses me off, and maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah.
5 minutes is 5 hours for New Yorkers. I'm sorry. I mean, that's how I felt.
Yeah.
And so they're not gonna feel it. There are people like Mayor Adams. I met him actually before he was mayor. So when I was in college, so he's adding more police presence. People still think that there's no police in the subways. It's all because there's only so much that New York City
Yeah.
has in terms of resources. Even though it's the largest city in the U.S., we still don't have we don't have infinite resource, obviously. So yeah. Anyway, that's beside the point.
Yeah.
Also, I want to bring something up with Anime
NYC.
NYC.
Let's back to Anime NYC. Yeah. 'Cause that's
Yeah, I
what
want to
this
bring. Yeah, go
episode's
ahead. You
about.
were
Yeah.
saying. Sorry.
Well, no, that's it. Just go back to Anime NYC because that's what this episode's
Yeah,
about. I
exactly.
know
So.
about. I mean,
Mhm.
so we're back to discussing the value of Anime NYC versus other conventions,
Mhm.
and I think it is the price is going to shut certain people out. But the thing is that for others who know that the Anime NYC experience is unlike any other, even though they did miss out on the $95 3-day pass, they are just going to grin and bear it and just pay $195 for 3 1-day passes, because at that
Mhm.
point, let's say if you're flying from across the country, you're not taking the bus like me, you're taking the plane. Some people are coming. I know some people are coming in from Europe to go to Anime NYC.
Exactly.
What is an extra $100? They are not going to care. And that's the thing, is that I think locals are more price sensitive to these sort of things rather than super hardcore fans like me who travel abroad just to get to the event.
That's
And
exactly right.
and that's the thing, is because in your area, like I said, there's so many other conventions. I'm not saying that don't go to Anime NYC, but just know that Anime NYC has things that those other conventions do not have, and if you want to experience those things, it's supply and demand.
Yeah, so
And
yeah, I live. So as I said, I'm a New Yorker. I live in New York City. I live near JFK Airport. Okay, it's 1 seat ride to Javits Center. That's the venue. I'm still going there anyway, and
yeah,
I bought
and
the tickets.
it's an advantage for you because unlike us who are coming in from abroad, you don't have to pay for a hotel ticket, so it's cheap.
Yes, I can just go back home and then wake up super
Yeah,
early
you
the
don't
next
have to
day.
pay for a hotel ticket. So in the end, you spend far less money than we do for the same experience. So
Man, I complain and I still complain. I think you
yeah,
know what? I kind of I'll tell you this. I'm okay. I think I complain simply because I care about our fellow locals. They're our neighbors and all that.
yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think what this does though is it does open up a possibility for someone to make another anime convention in New York that is more fan focused. I
There.
think that would
Yes.
be the actual answer to all of this. I mean, something that doesn't directly compete with Anime NYC, but more supplements it. And I think that would take the sting out of paying
Yes.
$195 for the weekend.
Oh, New York has
Because
that.
some people, I know some anime fans are not interested in the industry booths. They are not interested in the sneak peeks. They are not interested in all of the events that I am interested in and others who are coming in from abroad are. They just want to walk around and take pictures of cosplayers. And
I'm a
if
cosplayer
you just
myself.
want to, yeah, no, but if you just want to walk around and take pictures of cosplayers, then yes, 195 seems like a ripoff.
But I do
So,
other stuff too. Don't worry.
yeah,
So I want to
yeah.
make the most out of it. And then I have a friend of mine who is planning to do a con for next year, but it's going to be held in the Bronx. So I don't know if you know about New York City. New York City is divided into 5 boroughs.
I know what the Bronx is. It's
No,
it's
no
north of
offense.
Manhattan. Yeah,
Sorry.
north of
No, just
Manhattan. I've seen this. I had to stare at the subway map and decipher it in order to get around because like I said, I've been to Anime NYC
yeah.
3 times now, so it's gonna be my
Watch
fun.
my YouTube videos. They're my past streams on Twitch. I actually do subway stuff on New York
Yeah,
City
I
subway.
can't promise you that I'll pay too much attention because again, I'm only interested in the New York subway for 1 week a year when I'm actually
Yeah.
there. Like I said, you probably would not be interested in Toronto Transit either. I could tell you lots of
Yeah.
stories about that,
Yeah.
but because you don't take it, there's not much of
Yeah,
a clue.
exactly.
So,
Last time when I never went to Toronto, but I had my family went to Toronto at one point. I remember there was only 2 lines at the time. It was a straight line, and then there's a U-shaped yellow line. I think that was it.
yep,
And then I
yep.
think it's grown since. I know that.
It's grown, yeah, it's
Yeah,
grown, and
but
it's
that's
gonna, like I
beside.
said, it's going to
Yeah.
grow. And our newest line's going to be light rail. So,
Yikes. So
uh,
yeah, I
yeah.
want to bring up something else. So after anime went, so you talked about people coming from all over the world and not just the U.S. I want to talk about this one person from Minnesota uh, who came to Anime NYC. Do you remember that? What's so special about this Minnesota man?
He got Omicron COVID.
He was the second
Yeah,
reported
yeah,
Omicron case, and after so they what happened was he attended all 3 days,
yeah.
and he got sick. And then he got tested positive, and Minnesota had a higher rate of distinguishing whether the strain, to distinguish the strains, and it was Omicron. When I first found out about it, I got at least 10 DMs on Instagram and text messages from my friends. I even called a couple of my, actually one mod in particular, DJ Nicky Zem. I want to give a shout out. He's the one from San Jose, so thank you for stopping by. He's actually one of my original mods. So I actually had to call him during work and ask him if he's okay because I was so concerned. I had the surgical mask, and
Yeah.
I was just I had a call from the New York from the New York City Test and Trace Court, like a few times, and I had emails and text messages coming from New York City Test and Trace Court, and I had to test every week, every Sunday specifically. I don't know about Canada. I know you had to pay $100 for a PCR test in Canada. In New York City, a PCR test is free.
Yep. Actually, on the way, you know what happened? This
Yeah,
is a great story.
go ahead.
Here's what happened. My friend and I took our PCR test at Walgreens, but Walgreens is drive-through only. So what we did was on Saturday morning before the con started, we paid an Uber driver $60 to drive us to Jamaica, New York. Jamaica, New York.
What?
We paid to Jamaica, New York,
Yeah.
to just sit there while we got our PCR tests because you can't do them. It's not walk-in. You have to go through a drive-through
Oh yeah,
for
that's right.
safety purposes. So it was
Wow.
hilarious. So he was okay with it because we just gave him a tip because he was an awesome guy. So
It was free,
it
I
was no
guess, in
problem.
Walgreens.
Yeah, but we tipped the Uber driver $60 for just sitting there for like 20 minutes while we did our PCR tests
PCR
because it
tests
had to
don't
be
really last
drive-through.
20 minutes.
What?
Actually, PCR tests don't last 20 minutes. Usually it lasts, if you're lucky, 1 day. But in many cases, you get the test around maybe 3 days later.
No, I mean the actual administration,
Oh,
like they had
was
to
20
do the
minutes.
cotton swab and all that, and the registering while we were in the drive-through. That took about 20 minutes, and then we got our results. We got email our results the next day. You're correct, yeah. But the actual process was about that long. But the nearest Walgreens that had the test that had the drive-through was in Jamaica, so
It's in Queens, yeah. I
yeah,
actually.
so we took the I believe was there's the blue one. I think
The
I'm gonna
E
say
train.
C. The E
The E
train.
train,
Yes.
yeah, I know because I'm the subway worker. You went
Yes.
from the Penn Station all the way to
Yep.
I think it was
The E
Jamaica
train, and then
Sutphin or
and then
Jamaica
from
Center.
there we hired the Uber driver to get us through the drive-through because
Yeah.
again no walk-ins. So it was
Wow.
a fun experience to start the day off, and then we went back and enjoyed Anime NYC for.
I
That's
started
how we
getting
got our
COVID.
return test.
Yeah.
And the reason why we did that is because if you do it at the airport, they charge I think about $250
Lord.
because you have no other choice. You either take the test or you miss your flight. So if you're not prepared, they gouge you.
Wow. And my friend said I started getting COVID in mid-January, but I was all right after traveling back from New York.
Yeah.
So.
But I don't think it was ever conclusively proven that the person got it at Anime NYC because
I believe so too.
because he did go out and party with
He did.
other people, so
Yeah, Saturday
he might have
night.
gotten it there. It's
Yeah.
not conclusive, and
It's not.
I think there was an article posted like just recently that they concluded that Anime NYC was not a super spreader event.
Yes, I posted on Instagram.
Due to all of its ventilation and excess safety procedures. So,
But still, people still don't believe it. They'll say, "Oh, it's still a super spreader because there's so many people." Now, I don't know if you know about New York City rules at the time, but there was a vaccine mandate. It was called the Key to NYC mandate. So, in addition to wearing a mask, you had to get at least one dose, and we were kind of upset about that because New York Comic Con, 1 month prior to that, you have to be fully vaccinated, and if you just got your second dose for Moderna or Pfizer, or you got one dose of Johnson & Johnson, and it's not 2 weeks yet, you don't go to Anime NYC because it has to be at least 2 weeks, before you step foot into Javits. So, I mean, it's a much stricter, but I didn't hear a lot of news about, if there were cases for New York Comic Con. I haven't heard any. But Anime
Yeah.
NYC, There was one Omicron case, and then I think about half a dozen of his friends also got it. But even that, we don't have full information for it.
Yeah.
And but from what I'm seeing, and when you said it was not a super spreader, it was a very small amount.
Yeah.
It's pretty minuscule. But
Yeah.
my criticism was not everyone reported the results. So again, we don't know for sure,
Yeah.
what the true information is. What we do know is that no one died from COVID.
Yeah.
I think that's the
I
most
mean,
important thing.
yeah. I mean, it would just be really easy for me to say, you know what, Anime NYC 2021 was just an anomaly. It didn't have the Japanese guests that we all know and love. 2019 was the last real one. But like I said, it because of all of those circumstances,
Mm-hmm.
it got my foot in the door for my game show.
Exactly.
So it is what it is. Sometimes you have to make an opportunity. Make the best of your opportunities. You take that
Mm-hmm.
opportunity when something happens, and I was just fortunate enough to host my event there. And again, I'm really hopeful that they'll invite me back this year as well.
Me
And
too.
if not, it is what it is. I'm not going to be resentful or anything. If they decide to head into another direction, it is. I'm grateful for the opportunity. But again, because they reached out to me, it makes me think that Lance, the guy who reached out to me, is really keen on expanding that fan content portion of Anime NYC, and it remains to be
Yes.
seen whether or not they expand the panel area to more than 6 panel rooms. But if they do, then maybe Anime NYC 2022, even if they don't get the Japanese guests again, they'll have more of that fan content and will make people happier, especially after exhibit hall hours. Because again, I believe that is one of the weaknesses of Anime NYC, that there is nothing to do once the exhibit hall closes at 7 p.m. You now
More
have
content.
5 hours to do something else.
Yes.
And
Gotta put more
other
content.
conventions, yeah, other conventions have stuff that runs until midnight.
Like
Some
Katsucon.
conventions, yeah, some conventions even go, beyond that and have the 18 plus content, whereas Anime NYC
That's what I
does
went to.
not. So
I went to the
there's
dances.
lots, yeah, there's
Yeah.
lots of places for improvement. There's lots of
Mm-hmm.
places for improvement, and I hope Anime NYC does the best that it can be. But even despite all of that, I think its strong suit, the industry presence, cannot no other convention other than Anime Expo can compare to that, and that's why my conclusion is, for me at the very least, I believe that experience is worth more than 195 US dollars.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I had to put a price on it, considering that Anime Expo VIP is 550 and Anime Expo is 4 days compared to Anime NYC's 3 days, I think the upper limit for a sane amount of pricing, I'd say 400. I'd
Mm-hmm.
say because Otaku-thon is 200,
Yes.
and I would say that Otaku-thon, that's how much they charge. They charge 160 for their VIP pass, and I
Yes.
think that was like underpriced for what you got. You got 10 concerts, 5 of them were paid events included, and you got like a T-shirt included along with that as well. I think
Good
Otaku-thon
deal.
is like at 250 level, $250
Yes.
VIP level. If Anime NYC did a VIP, I would say it's worth 400, and then Anime Expo would be 550.
Yeah.
So
I've
that's
done.
my
Yes.
tiering of it right now. But I know so many others would disagree and would say all of those prices are highway robbery, and I completely understand because again, this is coming from someone who has, who's still fortunate enough to have a stable job and is willing to pay for the latest and greatest anime. Like anime is not cheap. You want
Mm-hmm.
to watch anime legally, you have to have a Crunchyroll subscription. You have to have a High Dive subscription because not everything on Crunchyroll is on High Dive and so forth.
And
And
the
if
and the other
you
way
want to
around.
complete the trifecta, you need a Netflix subscription. So
Oh my
all these
god.
subscriptions combined, that's $50 a month. It's no, and buying new manga, each manga volume is 12 to $15. Like if you want to collect an entire series, it's $150 plus, right? So this hobby is not cheap. It's
Nope.
not cheap if you want to be in on the latest and the greatest, but if you're content with with the older stuff, and I know it's painful to say that, the older stuff, then there's a lot of bargains to be had, and I think that analogy can be really said for the same with anime conventions. If you are not interested in the industry events and the industry booths, then the other conventions you can take a look at, and they might provide a comparable experience for you. And it's but the thing is that they're not in New York, and I guess
Exactly.
that's the
It's
sticking
okay.
point, isn't
Yeah.
it? Right?
But anyway,
That
so
a lot of the complaints in New York, a lot of the complaints on are from locals who
yes,
don't
myself
want to pay that.
included. But I'm kind of a little
And
bit
I think we can
different.
leave it there for that. I think
Yeah.
you can have your last words, but I think that's really as much as I wanted to say about it.
I
I
appreciate
don't
it.
expect you to complete. I don't expect you or others to completely agree with
Hmm.
my stance that Anime NYC is underpriced. But now I hope you have an idea of where I'm coming from with
Yes.
that.
Oh no, I truly appreciate hearing your side. I just on a side note, I know I there so in the Bronx, I know it. We we have so many different choices, and that but even the locals, you know they want to have like in each of the boroughs, in the five boroughs, they want to have their own cons too. I live in Queens. There is a con called WinterCon. It's two stops from my house, and I wasn't too big with it because it's more of a sci-fi, like the Star Wars, the Warriors. That's a from the '80s. Then there's Star Trek, and then Marvel and DC. Then obviously most of the cons are in Manhattan. My friend runs a con in Staten Island. It's called Geek Out at Staten Island. Okay, and there is one in Brooklyn called Brooklyn Comic Con. And then of course Westchester County's north of the Bronx. They have one, but Bronx didn't have any. Connecticut has cons in there. New Jersey has cons. You can go like all over the Northeast. There's cons. Actually, all
Yeah.
over the United States. Like I don't need. I didn't even realize how lucky. I mean, just you sharing your experience from the north of the border
Only
in
having two,
Canada,
yeah,
having two for the
in
entire
the area.
country, and Canada's bigger than the U.S.
Well, there's Anime Revolution, but that's in
That's
Vancouver, so it's like
three.
you can fly a plane. Yeah,
We'll say three, but three
yeah.
for Canada.
Major conventions, yeah, three major
That's
conventions.
rare. Three major ones, and are there any like small cons at
There
least
there are plenty of
Toronto?
smaller ones, but again, you have to realize that Canada's population is like 35 million. So basically, your metro New York has almost the same
Two
amount of
thirds.
people as the entirety of Canada. So that's why the industry companies don't
They
see Canada as a huge market,
they look for
because
where, yeah, they look for the
because
density.
why, yeah, because why, yeah, why market to Canada with 35 million when the U.S. market is 350 million, 10 times the population.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, they gotta share. It's not always about the money. It's all about trying to, spread the recognition and all that. But
And
there's actually going to be more cons coming up. I have a friend who's trying to organize it, but there's always small cons popping up in the New York City tri-state area and all over. That's why there's animecons.com and all that, and they can't even keep up. So I have like different sites and all that. If I see like events, even with Sakura Matsuri, I'll post them. But especially if it's in New York City area, and want to actually conclude as well. I just I want you to have the last word. The question I have for you, Gippy, is what do you think about this experience? This is actually my first episode, kind of this Let's
I
Meet
had a great
thing.
time. Again, I have a lot of stories, but I wanted to keep mostly a positive debate
Yes.
experience. Notice that I did not really put down any other convention. I just said
Mm-hmm.
MS has reason, but again, the staff of Anime NYC treated me above and beyond when it came to accommodating my event, and in communication, to such time of communication. You know, I think the one thing to take out of this is that the staff at Anime NYC are trying their best, and just this was a very difficult decision they had to make, and it just please don't give them too much grief over it. And that's really all I wanted to say. As for myself, I've right now I'm only planning to do 3 conventions. It might be more later on, but I'm going to Anime Revolution in Vancouver because I am staff there. Because I'm only going there because IFF Toronto, the sister convention in Toronto was canceled. But I'm going to Anime Revolution in I believe it's July 27. Yeah, July 20. It might be July 29. It might be July 29, but the last week of July, and then immediately after, the week after, is Otaku-san on August the 5th, and then it will be Anime NYC in November.
Yes.
I might add another convention, fourth convention, because I like to go to at least 4 big conventions a year, but we'll have to see. If any convention staff are watching this, I would, and want me to host a game show or panel, then just communicate with me. Just go to my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Gippy Games. It's just my nickname in games. You can actually have you can actually see a playlist of most of my events that I've ever done, including virtual events, because I did a virtual anime meeting and a virtual panel last year on Otaku Home. I did an anime year in review where me and my co-panelist just speak for 1 minute about each show, and we covered like a lot of shows. I don't know if you've seen that. Well, go watch that when you have time.
Yes,
exactly. It's a fun panel, but I think I'll keep doing. I'll keep doing the anime conventions in the future. Like I've been at anime convention for 19 years. I don't think I'm going to stop anytime soon.
No, don't.
But I think, but out of all of the conventions I've went to, like Anime NYC is an experience like none other. And I think you have to appreciate it for what it is, and you won't know what you're missing until you try other things. And that's why I wanted to speak to you about that and give you another perspective on why Anime NYC had to price their convention the way it is, and why a bunch of us are accepting of its increased cost, despite everything that has happened. And also one last thing I want to know is that the 4,500 weekend passes, it's sold out in 1 minute. Like in 1 minute or 1 or 2 minutes.
I heard of 25, 30, 45 minutes.
The thing is, the instant I clicked at 5 p.m., I had to wait in line for 19 minutes to buy my pass. So those who clicked in the very first minute had a 20-minute wait time, and the stuff and the tickets and the passes were sold out in 25 minutes. So without the wait line system, it would have been gone in 1 minute. So that's why I think it did sell in 1 minute, but it took 25 minutes for the line to move to that point.
It felt like near Comic-Con for me back when in 2016, 2017, where I couldn't get Saturday tickets and I only got Sunday tickets. 2017 it worked out because I actually had to work on a Saturday on another pharmacy to cover for someone, but that's beside the point. Also, I did type youtube.com/Gippy Games. So I encourage everyone to follow, to subscribe to Gippy.
Yeah.
He's an amazing.
Yeah.
I look through the videos,
But if any convention staff want to contact me or having me host an event at their convention, just communicate with me. My contact information is on that YouTube site if you want to reach out. And again, don't give the Anime NYC staff too hard of a time. The last note before I want to leave, because I was about to bring it up. 4,500 tickets went in a flash, but immediately the moment after that happened, like in the few hours after it happened, I tried to check the number of comments, number of complaint comments across like a bunch of social media platforms, Reddit, Twitter, and Facebook, and I counted less than 250 negative comments. It's going to be greater now. Like now it's probably about a few hundred, but put that in perspective that the number of complaints and negative comments are like about a couple hundred compared to the thousands who immediately bought the weekend pass. So it's a very loud and vocal. I feel it's a very loud and vocal minority who
Yes.
are complaining about they didn't get what they wanted. So
Mhm.
keep that in perspective. That
Yes.
social media is
Uh-oh. I'm
very
having some connection issues.
there's
Uh-oh. Hold on a second. Sorry, having some connection issues.
are
Uh-oh. Hold on one moment, sorry. Let's see what's going on here.
I hope my instinct get off.
All right.
Your
Can you
stream's
can you hear
down.
me? Something was.
So we'll end it like that. We'll end it like that. We'll end it like
Yes.
that. Yeah. I
Yes.
think that's about time for us to scram.
Yes, exactly.
All right. So anything else?
No, that's about it. It was great meeting you. Please follow. I think what happens is I think. Oh wait, we're back because it froze at one point. But I just want to say again, thank you so much. I guess that that technical difficulty means time is up. I think the systems are tired of us already talking. But it was great meeting you. I hope to meet
Yeah.
you in
It's
person.
2.5, nearly 2.5 hours. So that's great. Yeah.
2 hour. I got 2 hours 4 minutes, but that's with
Okay.
the
2 hours. Yeah. Oh
stream.
yeah. We started late.
With
Yeah.
a
2 hours.
Twitch actually, the Twitch stream. But I hope to talk to you very soon. You've been great. I'm very happy we have this conversation about Anime NYC, and I'm also gonna
Yeah.
say that I'm gonna try to be more thankful about it and not take things for granted. I think that's the lesson I
Well,
have to say.
but now the big question: will I see you at Otakuthon?
That's a good question. It depends on the money because I have to
I'd
work.
love to meet you at Otakuthon, but if not, I'll meet you in person at Anime NYC. But
Gotta get my
I'd love to
passport
meet you
ready.
at Otakuthon if you can make it. Yeah,
Yes, so
just
I'll think about it.
consider
Yes,
it. Yeah.
yes. Anyway, have a good night. I
All
will see
right,
you
take care,
soon.
everyone. Nice to
Have
meet
a
you,
good
everyone.
one. Take care.
Take care. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.